to my channel. I'm Joanna Kleinman, psychotherapist, empowerment coach, best-selling author, and the creator of the Mind Method. And whether you're new here or you've been here on this journey with me for a while, I'm so grateful that you're joining me as we explore how to step out of old patterns and into a life of peace and purpose and joy. So today we're talking about the journey from ego to soul, the path of unhooking from that constant critical voice in your head and aligning with your authentic self. So here's the secret to success that nobody talks about. Persistence is the only way to lasting transformation. There are no shortcuts. Whether it's in parenting or relationships or building your career or business, the long way, the one where you consistently show up and do the work, is the only way that leads to true change. So every shortcut I've tried, whether it was reasoning my way through parenting struggles or avoiding tough conversations in my marriage or chasing quick fixes in my business, it brought me right back to where I started. And it was only when I committed to the persistence of doing my inner work and facing the challenges head on that my life truly began to change. Now, here's the truth. As within, so without. So the external struggles we face are reflections of what's happening inside. So when I stopped looking for outside solutions and I started addressing my own beliefs, my thoughts, my patterns, my emotional life, everything shifted. Now let's talk about why this persistence matters. So many people give up when the path gets hard because they fear that the difficulty is going to last forever. But here's what I've learned. Difficulty doesn't last forever. It changes, it bends, it shifts. And really, when you're faced with something difficult, you really only have three options when things get tough, right? You can quit, or it gets easier, or you get stronger. So quitting freezes you right at the edge of transformation. It locks the door to breaking through what is about to happen. So that storm is going to pass. But the person that you become by walking through the storm, that version of you, is what lasts. So I want to talk about this battle within yourself, because we all have that battle within ourselves. That's that voice in your head that says, you're not enough, or what if you fail, or what if you disappoint someone, or what if you don't do it right? And that's your inner critic self. And it is always going to react and judge, and it's always going to fuel the drama in your life. But you also have another part of you, and that is the witness. And this part observes without reacting. And the more that you can connect with this part of you, the observer, the more freedom that you create. Now, that's the part of you that is your true, authentic self. That's your higher self. And when you're using your higher self to navigate your life, you create the freedom to respond instead of react. You create the freedom to choose peace over drama. You create the freedom to live aligned with your authentic self. And that's how you design a life that surpasses anything that you could envision when you are stuck in your automatic mind and you are your automatic self. So when emotions arise, pause, ask yourself, who is in charge right now? Is it the inner critic, or is it the authentic self? So I want to talk about manifesting your extraordinary life, because here's the problem with what a lot of people think is manifesting. Persistence won't lead to transformation. if your mind is stuck in your inner critic's thought loops. Negative thought patterns create downward spirals of energy, and that blocks the energy that is required to manifest the life that you want. So the key is you've got to start noticing and paying attention to when your inner critic's thought loops are dragging you down this down spiral of energy. And you've got to interrupt it. So you could literally say something like, stop, stop, stop. I know this is a simple act, but it actually acts as a neural reset and it creates space for a new choice. And it invites you to then ask yourself, is this thought universally true? And if it's not universally true, what else could be true? So when you shift in that moment from your inner critic to your authentic self, and you ask what else could be true, now your energy up spirals. And over time, the more that you keep unhooking from that old inner critic self and tuning into your authentic self, the more your energy up spirals and the more your brain starts to rewire for a whole different way of thinking and a whole different way of being. So I will share a story with you about how this impacted my life. So in 2018, my business partner left our partnership unexpectedly. And my inner critic whispered, you can't do this alone. And this is the end. And I could have spiraled into fear and self doubt, but instead, I chose to let my sorry, not my inner critic, my authentic self guide me. And this decision transformed my life because I rebuilt a business into something that I could have never imagined, right? Leading retreats in different countries and speaking at major corporations and building a thriving community of extraordinary women because I trusted my authentic self, even in the face of the complete unknown. And had I listened to my inner critic, I would be living a very different life today. And it is all because of the work that I had done prior to that very unexpected and sudden change that I was able to tune into my authentic self and let her lead. So I want to talk about the transformation from ego to soul. So your inner critic thrives on fear and comparison and control. And that's your inner critic voice. And on the very flip side of the inner critic voice is your ego's voice, which is tied to external achievements and validation. So your ego's voice is always striving and gripping onto these ideal pictures of what you want your life to be. But your soul, that's your authentic self, is infinite and wise and whole. So when you live from your soul, you're trusting life's flow instead of trying to control it. Your inner critic wants to control it. When you live from that soul, you stop chasing validation and you start creating inner alignment. You get that validation from you. You don't keep gripping and trying to get it from external sources. Now, this isn't about rejecting the ego. It's really about letting your soul lead. So, to make this shift from ego to soul, you have to create stillness. This can be through meditation, it can be through journaling, it can be through self-compassion exercises, but you must be able to observe your thoughts without judgment. You have to be willing to explore your fears and your dreams by asking, what does my soul want for me? Because sometimes you might have dreams that are led by your ego instead of your soul, right? Self compassion here is so important to be able to tune into that authentic self and to say, I'm here for you, right? Be here for yourself. Know that you are enough and trust the unfolding of your life. So, that journey from ego to soul is the path to true freedom. It is not about perfection, it is about ongoing progress. The more that you keep unhooking from that old self and aligning with your authentic self, the more that you reveal versions of yourself that are miles away from where you started. So you can create a life that's filled with peace and joy and fulfillment, even when you're facing challenges. So if this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to take my free inner critic assessment to gain deeper insights into how your inner critic is shaping your life. And please remember, the soul is where your true power lies. So let's keep dethroning our inner critics together and living in alignment with our authentic selves. Thanks for tuning in today.